Hello and welcome to the Forward Unto Dawn podcast, the show about the story and universe of the Halo franchise. This is episode number 33. I'm David, and I'm joined by my usual co-host across the pond, Danny.
Idly hodly.
So it's that time of year when we do Forward Unto Dawn's sort of year in review, what we liked, what we didn't, and what happened in the world of Halo. To help us recap, we've got two special guests with us this episode. First, a chap you last heard on this podcast way back in episode 19 when we talked about Halo Mythos and Halo Fractures, Toa Freak from Halo Canon.
Hey there, everybody.
And then the guy you last heard from literally last episode, Haruspis.
Hello there.
Okay, so before we dive in, I was just going to go through the year chronologically in terms of releases. Anyone have any general thoughts about the year overall?
It's been good. It's been pretty good, yeah.
I feel like
a Halo release this year. I'm sad.
Yeah, I feel like, especially since we didn't get a game, it felt like more of a breather year, which is weird to say when we got 3 novels in a comic series. But
4 novels.
It's almost as if they were planning some kind of build-up novel-wise.
Yeah, 4 novels, because you got Battleborn at the very beginning of the year, very first day of 2019.
Yeah,
and then
you're right.
Renegades, Oblivion, and Battleborn Part 2, I guess.
I guess I'm just now used to like the 2016, 2017, 2018
Yeah, where you get like
pace.
6 books a year.
But now it's calmed down. That's good. We started out January 1st with Halo Battleborn, the scholastic young adult entry for the Halo series. And I thought it was pretty good. We had a chat with, I know you interviewed her to Haruspis, but we had a chat with Cassandra Rose Clark, who's an interesting person. And she talked about not necessarily she had a background in young adult fiction, but that wasn't her own domain. And I think she did a good job of doing something that was clearly targeted towards the youths, but was not, I guess, talking down or unenjoyable as a crusty old 20-something.
I thought it was a much needed kind of perspective on the Halo universe that hasn't been explored a whole lot. So I was very pleased with sort of the approach that they took with that.
100% agreed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I actually, in some ways, I thought in terms of like the tropes and like, oh, the kids are just so amazing kind of stuff, we got more of that in Legacy of Onyx than we did this book. So for all the people who thought it was all going to be terrible, like she kept on harping in our interview about not wanting to do terrible love triangles, and luckily that was not a feature. So I think there was a lot to enjoy in it.
Definitely. I mean, they struggle to take down grunts in this book, which is a refreshing change of pace.
Dude, just that very first battle they had, or not really battle, but that fight with the jackal in the car, and they're ramming it against a tree, and it's like, it's not dying. Like, kill this thing. I don't know, I'm using the car. What else could we use?
That was an interesting, it kind of reminded me of the forest scenes from Forward Unto Dawn. I was reading that. And I think, and especially, I think the best part of it is, yeah, we don't get civilian stories that often. Let alone it does a good job of introducing everyone, and every chapter you think, all right, this is when the Covenant's going to arrive. No, wait, this is because there's all this weird stuff going on, and you get into that sense of paranoia about, yeah, one day the Covenant could just show up in your world. And so I really enjoyed that aspect as well.
I think there's more formats for storytelling in Halo, and I think a book like that provides an excellent outlet for different kinds of readers. Not different readers, just different kinds of readers, really. You know what I mean? If it gets somebody into a Halo story, then I'm all for it. My personal opinions on the story are pretty much irrelevant. I'm not the target demographic, you know? So
that's Danny's diplomatic way of talking about the book. So then the day after, and this is actually something I have a bone to pick about 343 with their release schedule. Why are you releasing stuff like day after or week after with stuff? Like, give me some time to get this content. Was the first issue of Halo Lone Wolf, which released through April. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And this was the solo Linda comic.
Long overdue.
Way long overdue.
Now we just need our Kelly comic.
Yeah.
Or Linda Kelly Buddy Adventure book.
I'd buy it.
Hell yeah, so would I.
I thought overall the comic was fine. I think the realm of comics is where Halo has been its spottiest. It's just, I mean, starting out with Uprising, which took like 2 years longer than it was supposed to come out.
I detest that comic personally.
Yeah, and it wasn't worth the wait either. Hey, at least Ackerson got to do something good before they killed him.
And at least he got what he deserved.
Yeah, it was satisfaction there.
Yeah.
I do kind of wish he'd stuck around in the post-war era. I think that would have been quite interesting to explore.
Yeah, fair point.
With the Halsey Hate Club and everything.
Welcome to the latest meeting of the Halsey Hate Club. Today we're going to be discussing how we can taunt her with her dead daughter.
Parangosky just clapping in the background.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, but I thought Lone Wolf was pretty good. Gave us an interesting tie-in, as it turned out, with a later event with Outpost Discovery, as it details.
I think people got a bit hung up on that ending.
I understand why. I'm still kind of like iffy on the ending, but the fact is, like, it takes up a page. Yeah. Not even a page. It takes up half a page. So it's not, even if you don't like it, it's not egregious. It's not terrible, and I don't think it should detract from the rest of the amazing storytelling in that comic.
Well, indeed. So you should explain what the ending is for the people.
Oh yes, we probably should. If you haven't read the comic, the basic story is Linda is sent out on a lone wolf mission, hence the title. She is the original lone wolf, not Noble Six. That's still a point of debate, but she's sent out to track down this guy, Dr. Chen, and this missing ship. What was it? The Promise Unto Dawn, or Promise of Dawn?
Promise of Dawn.
Yeah, Promise of Dawn.
Promise of Dawn. There we go. Yeah, too many dawns. Too many dawn ships.
The Stalwart Dawn. All the others.
Yeah.
There should only be one, really. One superior one, clearly.
There you go. But no, so she has to go there to just take out Chen, and her secondary objective, which Oni is very nonchalant about, is you can rescue people if they're still alive, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Don't feel like you have to. But...
Exactly. So we get some great exploration of Linda's character along the way, but ultimately she ends up recovering, just to tie back into the ending quickly, she recovers this AI called Gabriella who went missing with the Promise of Dawn, and Gabriella is the main AI for Halo Outpost Discovery. So the very end of the book, thank you.
Complete knowledge of human history.
I'm assuming with that, like, any other AI's got some general knowledge, or they'd have to access a database to get the specifics, whereas, Gabriella would be able to tell you what's happening on the 4th of October in 1889, as long as it was written down in some journal somewhere.
And it was vital that they keep her out of Covenant hands, so that, like, the grunts would be stymied in their archaeological research or something. They needed to know what happened in 1885, all right? It was vitally important.
Obviously. If you don't know what happened in 1885, how can you properly wipe out the human race?
Yeah. But I didn't actually know that. I didn't see that the ending was divisive when it came out.
I don't know if it was divisive, but it wasn't.
It was a point of contention.
It was a point of contention. It was a point of contention, but it was hardly like. There's nothing like people are like debating hardcore at the time or to this day. How, if it was good or bad. It's just some people let it kind of spoil the comic for them. I think most people were just kind of and then you get a few people that thought, "Oh, that's really cool."
I was one of those.
Yeah. I'm still kind of in the middle on that, but it's definitely one of those things that you can be middle ground on without offending people. Which is very rare in any fandom.
All right. And the same, also in January, minor thing, we got the hardcover version, speaking of comics, of Collateral Damage, which was the first part of our continuing trend into let's go back to the beginning with Master Chief. Back to basic story. And I quite enjoyed Collateral Damage. I think more overall
I liked it as well.
Than Lone Wolf.
Collateral Damage was just it was so good in so many ways. Just so much that you get this story, and I remember like not week to week, but month to month as that was releasing, people were like, when are we gonna figure out what this Forerunner MacGuffin is, and it's gonna suck. And then it turns out the Forerunner MacGuffin is a MacGuffin in the truest sense, in that it's just there to have the Covenant attack this planet, and it doesn't impact the story at all. It doesn't matter. The whole thing was about Chief dealing with these horrible truths of the UNSC and how it treats people. The collateral damage, as it were, as he's forced to abandon insurrectionists that he had teamed up with, that he had promised to help out.
They don't even recover anything really of importance by the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tragic end, and they really subvert your expectations really well.
They lost.
Yeah, I was sad that he didn't look to the camera and say, "I guess they were just collateral damage," and smash cut to the movie title. But yeah, oh yeah, or CSI it. But yeah,
that might happen in Infinite when like Cyber Whitaker shows up or something.
The possibility.
I would really love that.
Composed Whitaker.
Oh God.
There's another composer on the planet. That's what they were searching for.
All right. Okay. Moving on to February. We got, I think, the standout, personally, for me, of the year, Halo Renegades by Kelly Gay.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Which we covered in detail in episode 28, Forerunner Dynamite Fishing. And as the title suggests, it's a delightful book.
I was in that one.
Yes, you were. It was a great book. I really loved it. And it's nice these past few years we've been getting I started writing like 2017, like here's all these like long-standing plot threads that we just haven't heard anything from, and since then half of them have been taken off the board. Like whatever happened to like Durrell and Dama, we found out. Whatever happened to 343 Guilty Spark, we found out. So it's nice that these plot threads are getting paid off, and especially in a fun way.
I cried several times.
I don't blame you, man. That book just, as I said in my own reviews of it, it brought all these disparate pieces of lore and story thread together in a way that on paper should not work, but in execution, wow.
Right down to like Arthur William Iqbal from that
Story
right. and Evolutions, just how granular you can get with those references, and yet they're still part of this emotionally holistic kind of whole. Really impressive.
Reminded me of Hunters in the Dark, and did not make me regret the fact that I brought it up.
I gave that book a 9 out of 10 at release.
Wait, you
Renegades
gave
or Hunters in the Dark?
Hunters in the Dark?
Hunters in the Dark, a 9 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Generous.
Do you stand behind that score?
I'm not sure. I need to go back and actually reread it.
Uh-huh.
Considering how much flack I gave it, I'm surprised I did that.
I mean, it's not terrible, but it's...
No, it's not terrible. It just has some questionable moments.
It's like it went back to the Ark to answer none of the questions that were lingering.
Well, yeah, and it has the same issue going back to the Ark I have with Halo Wars 2, in that it goes back and then doesn't do anything with our fond memories of tripping around on this really cool place. It was kind of disappointing in that respect.
But we got living trees, guys.
Living
trees. And then we got that brief like
Lord of the Rings reference.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings thing going on with walking. Definitely in terms of Halo books, feature lots and lots of walking. It's pretty low on my list.
It's no Primordium.
Yeah, it's no Primordium. But then in May, we had a quiet spring. In May, the only major thing was we got the Halo Omnibus Volume 2 released, which was just a paperback version of the Halo Library Edition Volume 2. So if more stuff for comics.
Nice to have a breather.
Yeah, but nothing super crazy. And then in June, we got the Halo Infinite trailer.
The opening scene, in fact.
Yeah, which lots of people flipped out about. Good and bad. Like, when is this thing coming out? It's obviously not coming out 2019. I think it was a different trailer, and I think especially, well, fingers crossed everything works out and Infinite's great and everything, but I think it's going to be looked on more favorably than the knee-jerk reaction of why aren't they showing us gameplay?
Mm.
And we got the Brohammer memes, so really it was all worth it.
It was a
Not
win,
Dustin
really.
Echoes, Brohammer. We have a Dustin Echoes. Come on,
Echo
guys.
420.
Blaze it. Yeah, we covered that with Duststorm from Patacular in episode 29. And yeah, I wanted more, but it was a fun little teaser to get us talking.
I think it's important not to show off too much at this point. They're clearly reacting in a sensible way to post Halo 5, and it's like, okay, let's give them a thematic kind of tease of what to kind of expect to jive with this story, see what the direction is, then we'll get into more sort of granular details later.
Well, they
I think that's a
could
good thing.
still totally change the story and
That's
remove that
true.
cutscene from
Let's-
existence. It's possible, but we'll
Let's hope
see.
not.
Yeah.
Please don't pull a Destiny.
In July, we got Outpost Discovery. So
Dude,
the
one
Halo
of us was
Fest.
lucky enough to be there.
Yeah, well, two of us here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I was at Philly, and then you were
Ah.
at Chicago, right, Toa?
Orlando and Chicago.
Yeah. So you got the first run experience.
Yeah. I got a bit of I got a little bit of everything, or not a little bit of everything. That would be Dustin. He got
Yeah.
or Duststorm. He got everything, but yeah, I got the beginning and I got the middle.
Yeah.
Dust Storm Echoes.
So it improved in the middle, I assume, for you.
Yeah.
You know, with any of these kind of things launching for the first time, there are going to be like issues to iron out. And credit to 343, apparently they really improved that experience.
343
by the-
and Hershend Entertainment.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and so it was July 5th to the 7th in Orlando, the 19th to 21st in Philly, August 2nd to 4th in Chicago, 16th to 18th in Houston, and then August 30th to September 1st in Anaheim. So it ran all summer. I had pretty positive impressions. Like Dust definitely talked about the rough launch it had Orlando, but even by Philly, it had dramatically improved, and they apparently made improvements from there on too. It was a lot of fun. Meet all the people. Stand in line for stuff if you really wanted to, but
I said so much lines.
yeah, I the only one I didn't end up doing was the VR, because I do not agree with VR at all. It does not agree with me. But that was fun because you could just watch everyone look like nitwits on screens doing it, and that was entertainment in itself. We got to do 2 panels. You did a lore one in Chicago, right, Toa?
Yes. There was supposed to be one for Philly too, but unfortunately it got canceled.
Womp womp.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. Got to meet a lot of people, met only through the internet.
Yeah.
It's a different atmosphere, isn't it, when you meet those kinds of people in real life?
Yeah, when
It really
you can only
is.
interact on Twitter.
try and knock him down and teabag him in real life just doesn't have the same.
That happened more than a few times. I'm sorry. Not as many as you would expect.
And the attractions I think were really good. The ring experience was really cool. That was the
Oh my god.
the I don't know, what do you call it, 360 video thing where you run around in
Yeah.
a honeybee drone exploring Halo.
And they got a live, somebody from the audience to come up and actually get infected by the flood.
Well,
That was shocking.
yeah, I was unexpected. I did really like the I mean, the Covenant, they had like a size chart of all the Covenant species. They're big, but seeing like an actual flood spore, or the Sentinel was actually
Yeah.
a surprise. A life-size Sentinel. Those guys are
That
beefy.
thing blew me away, like how big that was.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Incredible craftsmanship as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, they were really nice.
My favorite thing with that whole experience was just whenever we got to the flood form is just going up to people and say, now just imagine that thing burrowing into your chest and wrapping its tentacles around your spinal cord.
Yeah, it's not great. You're not walking that off easily.
And then all of a sudden the parents coming along taking their 6-year-old child away from you.
Well, that was along with Battleborn. I definitely got the sense once I was there that Outpost Discovery is definitely about, hey, bring your kids and get them into Halo, because there were a ton of parents there. And I think
Now,
that's
we're
awesome.
at the point now where it's becoming generational, right? We're
Yeah,
entering
'cause-
the second decade almost.
Yeah, it's almost 20 years. we're all old. I remember playing Halo C on an Xbox.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think overall it was successful. They definitely sounded like talking with the Hershon people that another year was in the cards. And those guys were great, actually. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, they
Got
were
to play
very nice.
with them and 343 people in an after hours game of the laser tag, and they were really cool guys. I think hopefully they will. There are Halo fans I hear over in the UK. Hopefully next year.
Oh yeah, we do exist.
All 5 of you.
Broaden out a little bit, because I think they did a good job hitting up most representative parts of the US. I'm annoyed they made me go all the way to Philly instead of New York, but hey, that's fine. So hopefully they just expand it and keep going next year, whatever. And hopefully they do some big, super big Halo Fest 2 kind of thing for the 20th anniversary, because that would be that would be really nice.
Amen.
Gosh, I remember watching the first one back in 2011. That was
Yeah.
To think that was so long
Just thinking,
ago now.
oh God, why can't I be there?
Yeah.
Well, I got my grunt plushie, and Danny got his napkin, right? So we were there.
I
in
love
spirit.
my napkin. I love my napkin.
Halo Fest napkin. All right, and the only other, I only put this here because it's kind of hilarious. The only other major noteworthy event of that time period was the Halo app was discontinued. And you're like, what? The Halo app? It's this random PC app they had where you could launch Halo Wars 2 and Halo 5 Forge, and that's about it. Going off to the great, there's like a pretty big graveyard of discontinued mobile or console app experiences now. Is the Halo channel still a thing?
It is.
Officially,
I still go
it
on it
is.
occasionally.
I don't think they do much with it.
Hey, remember when they were going to make the weekly updates video?
Yeah, they did that for a while, and it just completely killed engagement.
Yeah.
It was a cool idea, but
No, not the option. Yeah.
yeah,
So, Halo channel on Death Watch.
it was just a unbeatable convenience to reading those.
Plus, what are you going to recap if someone does it in video form already?
Yeah.
That was very insensitive of them. So then in September, we got Halo Oblivion.
Indeed.
So this
I was on that one too.
Yeah, episode 32, Inbred Pirate Kids, which we just came out with.
Oh shit! Yeah, after a few generations, you definitely would have to, wouldn't you?
Someone thought about this, and so that's why we came up with it. So this was Troy Denning's follow-up to Silent Storm from the previous year. I think this one was, at least among our group, a little more conflictingly received than Silent Storm. You loved it, Alex.
I did. I much preferred it to Silent Storm.
Because it was more of that Primordium era walking simulator that you
more
loved.
weirdness, less sort of ensemble chest beating military action. I'm with it.
Yeah, but I definitely appreciated parts of it, like the kind of Benny Hill Looney Tunes stuff in the end, and the fact that Linda and Kelly both got a bit more time to shine than they often do.
Yeah,
indeed.
And
they actually got in their heads, which I honestly get, like, aside from Linda's comic this year, I can't think of really the last time we really got to get in the heads of either of them.
Mm-hmm. And that was something I brought up on the episode, is that my realm of lore knowledge and stuff does not trend towards the Spartans, and honestly I have sometimes gotten Kelly and Linda confused, besides one's fast and one's a sniper.
It's okay, so some of the writers at times.
Yeah.
It's also true, which is probably kind of damning for how much they've done with them. So it was between Lone Wolf and Oblivion, it's nice that they get more time to shine. And Spartans dealing with kids has proved to be surprisingly
always so good.
A surprisingly rich area to draw from.
Thankfully, they didn't randomly take off their helmets to reveal how young they were.
You mean that helmet that was just Cat's helmet, which we stuck a knee pad on top of?
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing. It's so recognizable as a knee pad on there if you played Reach.
We're talking about Forward Unto Dawn, if people don't remember that. Go back to the
Just
final
wonder what the
scenes.
conversation was that resulted in that. Like, how are we going to make
Well,
this helmet look a
I
bit different?
enjoyed that because as a Star Trek fan, I come from a rich tradition of kit bashing where like, they would just stick the nacelles from one ship onto another and call it something else and stuff. So
and
I'm
then
used to that.
spark the hottest debates in the community.
Yeah, like the medical devices are like sharper image cheese graters and stuff. LEDs added to it. So it's live action. You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And that was followed just a week later. Come on, people. Which I guess tells you they really think these books have different audiences. The follow-up to Battleborn,
Yeah.
Meridian Divide.
Like those release conflicts are entirely on the publisher, on the fact that they have separate publishing teams.
Yeah.
I can't imagine 343 is very happy about like either situation with the Battleborn series. Like, oh, we're releasing this. I mean, the first of the year just seems like an odd release, but then it's like, yeah, what was it? A week later, a few days later?
I think it was September 24th and then October 1st. So
yeah.
exactly.
Well, I mean for Lone Wolf, you had like
Lone Wolf was the day after.
It was the day after. There you go.
Yeah.
And then there's a week between Oblivion and Meridian Divide, which that was hell for me.
Yeah, Ian and I had a word. We were talking to some people from 343 about the release schedules, weren't they? And they clarified those details.
Well, it is what it is.
Sometimes, things are out of your hands, and ultimately you can't just really do what you want with Halo. It's still subject to all the rules of publishing and everything like that.
Got to deal with partners. But overall, I liked parts of it more than Battleborn, parts of it less. The big thing fans all freaked out about was, spoiler at the end, they're going to become Spartans.
Sort of Spartans.
Sort Spartans.
We'll have to see. Like that whole thing is going to be entirely dependent on what part 3 of this series looks like. Are we talking full-on Spartans? I hope not. Are we talking, some mild augmentations, some more Orion-esque augmentations? That's what I'm hoping for, like these prototype Spartan 4 augmentations.
Yeah, and it would be kind of cool if they are being like, all right, this is stuff that would eventually get rolled out. The Spartan 4 stuff. That'd be a way to link it. Well, really with Oblivion and Meridian Divide, I really want the third books to come along because, especially Oblivion, like it just kind of ended. I'm like, wait, but where the?
Yeah.
So I really want to see.
I really enjoyed Meridian Divide myself, but I do often catch myself wondering, like, did this sequel need to be a thing? When you look at Battleborn, that ending where they fought like hell, they've saved who they can, and then they find that they've got to go back to Meridian, and I feel like, is that not more a powerful tragic ending, that this is the battlefield they can never leave, rather than carrying on that story, but just leaving it kind of there?
I don't know if you know this, but Halo is a multimedia franchise.
I've got an article coming on that.
More installments for the installment god. But yeah, I see that point. I think, well, both Silent Storm and Battleborn, I think, were much better standalone entries than their follow-ups are. So I am hopeful we get the third book to wrap them up nicely.
And then maybe Troy Denning can go back to his post-war series and wrap that one up too.
Oh yeah,
that would be
remember
nice.
Ferret Team and all those guys.
Yeah, I'm convinced that either the children or those children's children, the inbred pirate babies, are going to show up in whatever the third book of that post-war series is.
So Troy,
because the fact that they went to Gao at the end of Oblivion. You cannot leave that alone.
Continue wrapping up the Troy Denning sub-universe.
The Denningverse.
Yeah. The Denningverse.
Everything's connected.
Dude's going to have written more Halo books than anybody else. I think he already has.
He's got 4 individual books.
Yeah.
He's got Retribution, the Last Light, not Battleborn, Silent Storm, Oblivion, and then Fractured.
He's got a short story in Fractures.
I think 3 is the maximum for everyone else in terms of
and
novels.
that was Nyland had his 3 plus a short story.
Yeah, so
Greg
he's
and
actually
Travis.
Karen
beat him.
Travis has 3 plus a short story. Greg Bear's got just 3.
3 plus
We need a
like
short story
all
from him.
those random little extra like audiobook post content stuff.
Yeah, there's your extra stuff. So
Yeah.
3.5 is basically everyone's
Top
max.
one.
Now Denning comes along. It's like I'm gonna
I'm
gonna shut
destroy
up.
that record. Well, and it took Nyland how many years? Like 2001 to 2006 was?
6, yeah.
Yeah.
2006.
And it's been 3 years, 4 years, I guess, for Denning. It's been popping them out. Yeah. And then in one corner are the one guys, the single guys, just Dietz and
Need to get John Shirley back.
hanging out
Yes.
in the corner.
Oh, please.
With, well, actually, even Joe Staten doesn't count because he did Shadow Intent, so he's out of the corner.
Book and a half.
I feel like we've not had a book quite as revolutionary as Broken Circle since Broken Circle.
Yeah.
See, was it Broken Circle? I was gonna pigeonhole you sometime to talk about how much you like it.
We discussed that last
Yeah,
time.
it's really funny. Like which I think we covered that in episode 16, 17, something like that, with the title Rapture in Space, because it really felt like he took his BioShock novel Rapture and then just made a Halo version of it for me. So that's maybe now, since it's been a while since I've read it, I might enjoy it more. Also, I guess
I definitely need to reread that. It's been
Damaged
too long.
Microwave creating zombies kind of thing is interesting. Well, it doesn't create zombies, I guess. Bloodthirsty, fast zombie kind of things. Speaking of dangling plot threads at this point, it's been 4 years since Broken Circle, so the Usans
5 years, actually. Came out
yeah.
at the end of 2014.
Yeah, so they're getting up there now. Not Charcoy level dangling plot thread, but they're getting up there. When are we going to hear about them? So then we hit November, and the big news was a bunch of stuff coming out about the Halo television series. Production begins. It's actually a thing after basically 6 years.
2013.
Yeah. Woo.
When Steven Spielberg announced it.
When
Don Matrick was head of Microsoft back then.
Yeah, and your
don't
Xbox was
remind
going
me.
to be the future of TV. Times have changed.
Thankfully, in some.
So
in most
yeah,
ways.
we got earlier in the year we got the casting news for Master Chief, and
Pablo
then
Schrader.
yeah, and then we got casting stuff for a bunch of people. So there's Halsey, there's Miranda and Jacob Keyes, there's New Spartans. Takes place in the Covenant War.
This new character Maquis,
Mm-hmm.
human raised by the Covenant somehow.
Yes, which got
Who isn't Maki Chava?
everyone upset. I think the way to sum up fan reactions for this is like everyone is upset about something.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. I'm interested about what direction they're going to go with it, and I don't want to put too much of a personal stake into some of the decisions they made.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm trying to avoid it, but it's been really hard.
I think
I'll say.
it's one of those things that's also been kind of compounded by the fact that we have people saying it's going to be really respectful of canon, and also we're going to change dates and times and whatever to make things fit.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if they had just straight up said, like, well, this is going to be an adaptation and like we're going to do some kind of MCU thing, I think it would have gone down a little bit easier.
Yeah, a bit more transparency there.
Yeah. So I'm hopeful. Like, it's all the stuff. Everything sounds like it could be terrible, but it could also be great. And it's really going to come down to the execution. So I'm hopeful for what we get. And I'm excited that it's actually happening after all this time.
Yes. I was rewatching Forward Unto Dawn actually recently, and just that, my God, the standard that sets is quite incredible for live action Halo production. And I watched it in the proper episodic form as well, not this film nonsense.
I mean, you don't need the the little Cortana interludes though, so I'm fine with the film version.
I'm a stickler for structure myself.
Well, now that you've reminded me the Halo channel is still a thing, I'm gonna have to go on there and rewatch Nightfall again just to see if it's as terrible as I remember it to be.
If you watch it on the Halo channel, it very well might be.
Well,
when I watched it just on when I watched it all together, even though the movie version is still pretty bad, it's not as bad as I remember it.
I think the thing I took away from that was the second stories were better than the actual.
Oh yeah, significantly.
thing, which is never a great. Oh yeah, but the supplementary features are really great. It's not what you want to say about your TV series. But yeah, it'd be interesting to go back to it.
I wrote a 20K 2-part article on Nightfall, and I honestly enjoyed a lot more of it than I remembered the first time around.
All right, well then we'll put a link in the show notes so people can read Defense of Nightfall.
It's a good opening, and it just goes downhill after every episode.
Yeah, and then that brings us to the present December, when we got two big things. First was the Master Chief Collection started rolling out after interminable flights all through the year. Reach came to PC and also came to the Master Chief Collection. That was exciting, and so it's been fun to have everyone pretend like they loved Reach, and then B, have people rediscover why they hated Reach.
That's kind of what me and what was it? You and me, Haruspis, and then who else were we with on the Xbox flight? We all played together.
Oh, we had Laird with us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and we were like all playing. It's like, you know what? It's still fun, but I'm remembering every reason I hate Reach as we go through this.
Yeah.
There's a lot less armor lock than I recall, so that's good.
I think you mentioned it. Yeah, I haven't encountered it that much. That's weird.
Yeah, equipment use in general seems to have decreased on PC than from it did on console.
I think my theory, as I've been thinking about that, is because everyone has been conditioned to be able to sprint in games now, that not being able to sprint feels like a serious detriment, so they'd rather sprint.
Yeah.
Or
I
they'll
agree that
run around like an idiot and jetpack, which is fine.
Oh, jetpack! Don't get me started on jetpack.
It's also actually been fun because I feel like they weighted the DLC pretty heavily in MCC in general, but especially for Reach. Yes. So I've been playing all the CEA Comet Evolved Anniversary maps that I didn't spend that much time on in Reach because no one had the DLC. That stuff. It's been fun.
Yeah. That's one thing I've been actually curious about. Did they actually weigh it heavier, or is it just because it's available to everyone now that it seems like it's that's what that's something that's been hard for me to discern. For one thing, I actually like most of the DLC maps, so I have no issue playing on them. So seeing all these posts about, oh my god, these DLC maps suck, has just been very surreal for me. It's like, really? Okay.
To me, they had some dodgy weapon placements when they came out, and then the whole trying to replicate the 3-shot pistol and Reach was not that effective. But I love 100% like the Comet Evolved Anniversary remakes of the CE maps more than the CE maps. Yeah. Because Comet Evolved was really built for 2v2 games. And if you started you end up with terrible stuff. So Solitary is there's ways to get at the people camping up top with sniper rifles. Or High Noon, you aren't stuck in the bottom of the place in a killing field like you are in Hang 'em High. I really appreciate them a lot more than the original.
It plays like a multiplayer that wasn't taped on 2 weeks before launch.
Plus, they're beautiful. I can stare outside of the frozen wasteland outside of Solitary.
High Noon, I just love staring out at High Noon. Oh my god, it's gorgeous.
All the canon debates about where that portal's going.
Yeah, exactly, that's so much fun.
The High Noon remake looks much better than it plays.
Yeah, where that slit space portal is outside. And then you go back to the original, wait, this was there was only a skylight in the ceiling.
Yeah. I actually remember when they were developing that, they were doing some of the behind the scene or the Vidocs for that. It was Shishka was talking with Max about how they'd had a debate what for the first remake of Hang 'em High in Halo 2, and they were like debating, is this a human map? Is it a Forerunner map? And I think it was like Max Hoberman had thought it's gone for Forerunner, and Shishka had gone for Shishka being an old Bungie employee and community member for anyone listening. But he'd said human, and he I guess won that out. So when they did the remake for High Noon in Reach, it's like, okay, well, this time we're doing Forerunner.
The answer was yes.
Yeah, basically. It's like, you get it this time, I get it next time.
It has the little triangular doors from CE, which are the most Forerunner thing to me. They will always be.
Yep.
We need more of those doors.
Well, they show up in Halo 4, but they're supersized, like proper Forerunner-sized doors.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Yeah, just imagine a warrior servant trying to get around in some of these areas.
Yeah,
or even a builder. How tall was Faber or Bornsteller's dad?
They're all like 8 or 9 feet, right? They're
Minimum.
big boys.
Yeah.
Big boys.
I mean, they weren't really spending a lot of time there, I guess. They just send the plebes to go do stuff.
Yeah, probably.
They would just teleport around. They don't.
The first
But it is
forms.
funny that the game that sort of is regarded as the one that killed Halo is the one that has revived it, and so that redemption arc has effectively come full circle now.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's been fun. I'm not I doubt Reach would play in a VM on my Mac, so I haven't even touched the PC stuff. But it's been fun to see the modders going crazy with it already. There's been some really cool stuff.
I've been playing it at work, actually, during lunchtimes. We were planning to do some Halo tournaments in the office, which would be good fun.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
that's nice. Yeah. So it's been, I think it's a way to end the year. It was a nice thing. It's going to be exciting for them to get. I assume they're going to do, since they've already dropped stuff in Steam, that Combat Evolved is going to be next, and then they're just going to go sequentially.
Yeah, they've said
there.
flights will begin after the holiday season for Halo 1, so we've got that to look forward to coming soon.
Although, actually, now that you mentioned the Hang 'em High remake in Halo 2, is that in Master Chief Collection? Or the Halo 2 Vista maps?
They will be. They're in there. They're in there.
Okay, I just have never seen them. Well, I've never seen Gerophobia either, but I think there's probably a reason for that. And then the final thing that happened this month, assuming nothing happens in the last 15 days, is that we got the new Xbox revealed. The Xbox Series X, not 10, Series X. And
You mean the monolith?
Yeah, the black monolith.
Dude, if Microsoft are fools if they don't try to capitalize on that aesthetic and
Absolutely.
do a commercial or some kind of promotion that's a total homage to 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Actually, I haven't seen anyone do a takeoff on that, so I might have to break out my copy and do it, because damn it, we need that GIF.
Exactly.
People are still laughing over fridge memes. Give it a while.
Yeah, we have to
That's
move
true.
on from fridges to classic acclaimed science fiction.
No, man, you got to take the initiative. You got to show these people some culture.
Some culture. I'm trying to educate
Exactly.
Yeah, they should really read more E&M Banks. That's fantastic.
you. So we got 3 seconds of ostensible Halo Infinite footage in here, which I don't actually think is Halo Infinite footage, so people can stop freaking out one way or
It's
another.
probably just something created for the commercial.
Yeah,
promo
they
stuff.
probably gave the assets to some other company who did the commercial. And
Wait. We're not going to analyze the explosions pixel by pixel to determine the race of the explosions. Come on, guys, we're better than this.
there was someone who was being snarky about like going through and like trees confirmed, like, or actually like we're not sure, they might be bushes from this distance, like don't want to say bushes may or may not be infinite. And that's about the level you should probably put into this. I mean, it's really just, we can boil down the Xbox brand into Halo, Forza, and sports, apparently. And
Gun, car, sports.
what else would you need?
The 3 genders.
I identify as guns myself, but
Master Guns?
sometimes sports. We'll see. Never cars.
And it was a nice Halo 3 sort of homage in terms of
Yeah.
how it was presented.
Yeah, like stepping
for those
out
3
on
seconds.
the big landscape. Just
The
reminding us
angles
that
were similar.
Halo was a
camera
thing.
angles and the sun and everything.
I assume we're probably not going to get any Infinite news until, since they revealed the console here, we're not going to get anything until E3.
Probably count on that. Maybe we might
That
get an
seems
April
like-
Viadoc, I imagine, if they follow the same pattern as Halo 4 and I think 5 as well. Did something similar.
That'd be nice.
I'm hoping we'd get something earlier, just because I'd hate to think that the flights for Infinite aren't going to start until after E3.
Yeah.
Is it just one thing I love? Like, regardless of how your feelings on the final product of Halo 5, the fact that we got a beta almost a year out from release, that's like all the feedback they were able to take, all the stuff they were able to implement and change in direct response to community feedback is invaluable.
I imagine it's a bit more difficult this time around, though, given
I imagine
Yeah.
the Xbox family of devices that they're planning to release it across. Is like, okay, we've got to make sure we got this nailed down before we start.
And then PC as well.
Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big, probably the biggest launch in a long time.
Yeah.
Also, I know if there's any flighting going on for Halo Infinite, I'm missing out on all of it. I missed every single opportunity for Master Chief Collection.
Yeah, well, I'm hopeful. Definitely we get earlier a beta that is about actually addressing bugs and making substantial changes versus just like sort of a polished promotional beta.
Yeah.
Well, you can shove that. Like they can do that anyway. They probably will Mountain Dew and Doritos or whatever. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. But
All right,
let's
just
do
as long as
some
we
proper
get Jeff
flying.
Cayley.
Oh God.
Dorito Pope. Yeah, I'm hopeful. Bring back the Bro Spartans in the victory poses.
I want them to do something like Overwatch where you can kind of choose your victory pose. Or
Yeah.
Or whatever pose you have in your profile that you can
Yeah, why not?
is your victory pose or something. Just
You have opportunities just to throw more money at the screen,
Yeah.
and that's why I want them to carve up, not the rest of the stuff. Just
The Bro Spartans seem pretty tame in comparison to like Destiny dances and Fortnite emotes and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, if
although to be fair, if someone give me the opportunity at the start of every match to perform a custom dance that I forced other people to watch that I was the star in, I'm sorry, I'm paying that money.
It'd be cool if they did stuff like the Spartan Smile and sort of like lore connected things that
Oh, yeah.
Spartans do. That'd be quite
well,
cool.
also like it's time. Like we should be evolving teabagging. If I can like do like a like taunt at them when they die, that would be amazing. Like I would totally.
Bag 2.0, put that in the back of the box. Actually, will sell units.
I want to see the Vidoc all about the evolution of teabagging.
Teabagging evolved.
For Halo Infinite, we really tried to do something different.
I would only watch that if it was just Frankie himself narrating it and no one else. Just him for 10 minutes talking about the history of teabagging.
See, that was the other night I was playing with some guys on from Reset Era, the Halo guys over there, and we actually got naded in a terrible CTF hemorrhage match. And getting to teabag naded felt pretty good. I was like, I have not done this in years.
Yeah, that reminds me of the one or two times I got to teabag Tashi in a customs from Halo Gap way back in the days. It was like, this is all I'm getting from you. It's worth it.
Oh yeah, well, he got that Tashi ceiling joke in the Halo 4 limited edition, so it all worked out for him, and a job. So
Indeed.
I think Tashi's the one laughing. I honestly do.
it all worked out for
Fair
him.
play to him.
I hope they chill out with the transmedia releases next year. I hope we get fewer novels and comics, just because I think we need a change of pace.
Just give me one, like
Yeah.
just one out
Just
year.
give me Halo
is
6.
great.
I don't care about the books. The books are great when I got Halo 6. Give me Halo 6 first, and then all the books you can come not printed. I don't care. Just give me 6 first. Then we'll talk.
I definitely agree. It was nice to have relatively lighter pace this year, but they could slow it down even more. And it's kind of weird to say that when we're
Even
going
this
into...
year, I think, has almost been too much, to be honest.
Yeah.
How about this for a random bullshit prediction? Next year we'll get a non-mainline Halo game announced. How's that?
I would love that. I want more spin-offs, man, just in general.
Me too.
Like, give me another Alpha 9 game. Really give me the This is what I want forever. Give me the Headhunters game that's co-op focused and stealth focused. It's like it's Splinter Cell but Halo with Spartans. That's what I want. That and Flood's horror survival.
Well, and then the fact that everyone freaked out over like a Lego Star Wars rip-off prototype is pretty much evidence
Yes.
that like
Oh my God,
people are
that's
starved.
Give
for-
me Halo Mega Constructs. I need that in my
Hagar.
life.
I
Bring
can't believe
back
they walked
Hagar.
away from that. Seeing how good that gameplay demo was, that was an
Yeah.
easy sell.
I want to know
That
what
was
the
an
hell
easy
happened
sell.
there.
Something has to have happened. That game would just fly off shelves for fans.
And what I am still bothered by is that Spartan Strike did not come to Xbox, and that was a better version of the game than Spartan Assault.
That'll be the secret extra game put on the end of the Master Chief Collection.
Here's a question for you. Do you think there's going to be any future push, maybe next year, to put 5 into that collection? Because
No,
it's the only missing component on the PC side of things.
no, I don't think there
I
will
don't
And
be.
people want to see that circles are
I'm
filled
hoping
in.
that I'm hoping that they'll just port Halo 5 over directly, like finish it off on.
Yeah,
the
they don't
Windows
have
Store.
it. We have Forge. We have half a Halo
Yeah.
5.
Just
I mean-
finish it off on the Windows Store side and then port it over to Steam, just so people can be like, again, regardless of your feelings about the final product, let people have the opportunity to be completely caught up with the Halo games.
That's
on
the only
PC.
reason why I want it. Those people who want
Yes.
to jump on the Infinite and continue on, they're on PC now anyway. Give them the full pack,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you can't put it in the MCC, port it separately. But I honestly think we missed the bus on that. But with the MCC, you literally never know now. You can literally hope for in 2 years' time it happens, or 3 years' time it happens. I believe now,
Now that they quote unquote fixed the MCC, like when it came out, I recall thinking like, oh well, this is going to be awesome. When the next game comes out, they can just fold the old one in, so you always have like that legacy thing. And I think I really want that because, like, I mean, I was incredibly frustrated by Reach and 4 when they came out, but I enjoy having them pop up when I just search for all the games in MCC, and I want to do that with 5, which I like more than Reach and 4. So I don't want it to be split off like it is.
How's that Mythic playlist doing? I heard it's not crap.
Oh, I enjoy it. Yeah, so
I
actually,
enjoyed it as
that
well.
is-
Yeah, I'm at it, but I did enjoy it.
yeah, I should actually mention that. So also this year, they came out with a Mythic, which I guess could be a harbinger for things in Infinite, I'm guessing, because otherwise, why would you release this new gameplay playlist
Isn't
in
that a fan made thing?
Halo
or
5?
Am I misremembering?
I
The
don't
game
know
type,
if
I mean. I
Was
don't
the
know.
the maps are as typical in Halo 5 style. They left the community to make kick-ass maps and populate the whole list with some brand new original maps.
which is part of the fun. Yeah, they're really nice maps.
They're fantastic maps, I've heard.
they
So,
they-
I'm giving credit where it's due. They made proper quality maps. If those maps were done up in proper style, they'd fit right in.
Yeah,
So they really nailed it.
and they feel a lot like retro CE and 2 maps.
Definitely.
Which
I
is
still
great.
haven't played it, so I'll have to check it out. But
Yeah.
I've heard nothing but good things.
Yeah,
so
there's
far.
got I got a really good. I think my favorite. I forget what it's called, but it's basically like if you made a larger version of Warlock, where they've got the
Yes, I
side
played that
bases
one.
and then rams
Can
over
I
the center.
just say for Halo Infinite, there was a perception in the community. I know I felt it intensely from looking at the whole thing overall, but there was a feeling in the community when Halo 5 launched that believed that they were supplementing their map counts with the hacky stuff. No, they didn't Forge. They supplemented the Forge content with the map counts. In Halo 5, with the new game mode and that, it kind of felt like, I want my old maps back, damn it. Don't butcher up my old maps and stick them in and increase and all that lovely stuff that they fit Halo 5 sandbox. I hope they can preserve maps as are, because come on, playing Blood Gulch and Valhalla, there's nothing like it. I don't want to take future map content and have to change it to fit this new sandbox style. I want a fucking unified sandbox, damn it.
Well, we'll see. So like, for people who haven't played it, the Mythic playlist. So it's got these great maps, but the gameplay, does it removes motion tracker, right? No, I'm totally blanking. But
Almost the Halo 5's Halo 5 essentially.
you've got you don't have sprint, you have thruster.
Stabilize as well, I think.
Thrusters and stabilize remain. You can't slide, you can't charge and all that stuff. It gives you the Halo 2 BR as default. It's just a more stripped down, fun experience with Halo 5, which even though I like charge and sprint and all that stuff, in altogether, I think it was just kind of overwhelming for Halo 5, and so I'm totally down with them stripping it back a bit. And I'm not sure if this really suggests anything for Infinite or not, but we'll see.
It strikes me more as like the equivalent of Legendary Slayer in Halo 4, where they removed all the armor abilities and everything except for sprint.
Yeah.
I want Halo to be Halo. I want it to be setting the trends. I want it to be doing something that's interesting that every other game takes a look at and goes, they're doing it well. We should do that. We should do some of that. Because Halo used to set the trends, remember? We used to be the industry standard, and now we just follow them. Come on, it was Infinite. They have a chance. They have one good chance. Third time around, set the trends again. Don't follow them.
I think my only real hope for Infinite, because I'm sure it's going to be fun. I've never not had fun with a Halo game, but is just that, I mean, with Master Chief Collection, with Halo 4, with Halo 5, 343 seems to make a great game a year after the game launched. And I think especially with how long it's been a wait for this game, like we didn't like perfect time for some Halo 5 like story-based DLC. Come on, but we never got that.
Well, the extended wait has made 343's support for Halo 5 really, really, really abundantly clear that it's terrible. Halo 5's long-term support was not there.
Yeah.
It's something they need to address.
Well,
It's
and
not
they just
acceptable in
need
today's
like
industry.
half the support ultimately was adding in features. Like, so if we aren't shipping with Forge, a file browser, ways to share clips and stuff, you're kind of hurting the community and around the game in the first place.
Don't update your game with launch features after launch, please. That's rather rude.
That's my personal hope, that we just get a much more feature complete game. And I think that's part of why people remember Reach so fondly, was because it did have all this stuff out the gate, and people were doing crazy Forge stuff from day one.
Yeah, even if you didn't like Reach, it was still feature packed. You still had all your majiggers to play with. And be upset about.
You do not have to love Halo Reach to love knocking zombs and all those great custom games and
Can
stuff.
someone please rip the body away from the Blood Altar and save BTB this time? I don't want BTB sacrificed for another mode again, please. I treasure that experience in Halo. Seriously, it's something I've clearly missed with Destiny.
It'll actually be BTBR, Big Team Battle Royale.
Oh, god damn it, don't.
Well, I'm also looking forward to not paying for a Halo game at launch, because I've got Game Pass paid up till 2022 for $2.
Oh, wow.
See, I'm the idiot. I bought the game on Steam, and then I got the 1-year Game Pass Ultimate deal. I'm like, why did I do that?
Well, you'll save 60 when Infinite comes out. All right, so Infinite hopes, fewer novels. Any other predictions or hopes for the new year?
Just that it's a year that really unifies the community, I think. You know, we've got everyone's favorite games coming to the MCC. That'll be a nice sort of like refresher on the series, and then we finish probably the year with Infinite moving forwards, and I think that's a really cool sort of setup.
Is the TV show that next year?
No, it's 2021, which is kind of weird, but yeah, so
production delays.
Why would they not have the TV show with the game? Cash in, ka-ching, please. Who missed that boat?
Well,
I mean, the TV show's not going to be related to the game.
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter. And I mean,
come on, it's all about just getting your face. Look at Star Wars. There's like 17 Star Wars products out right now. You don't give a shit. They're not connected. It's all Star Wars.
Well, that's a good point. We need baby grunts and what else to cash in. Yeah, so while we're wishing for unattainable things, Haruspis, is there anything else? Goodwill and peace on Earth among fans?
In the community? I don't think so.
Well, that's nice to hope for, and we'll see.
No, I think going into 2020, it's nice not knowing what else is really coming. It's come as a bit of a surprise. And
this is the first time it's been like that in how many years now?
Yeah.
We don't know anything about the future of Halo. Is there another game coming after this one? Is there anything that's not shoot Halo?
It is nice not to know and not to have things just sort of clearly scheduled so that they can come as a bit of a surprise. So I'm happy right now.
Can I say, for the record, it is not fun not knowing? I don't like not knowing. This is hell. I want to know everything now, please. Don't listen to these guys. I want to know. Full disclosure right now. Put it on the internet, please.
Okay, fine. I'll be breaking my NDA, but here's what's happening. No, I'm kidding.
Master Chief actually does become Space Jesus.
I hope Frankie gets drunk one day at the office and just control V's all the future of Halo into
Spin of
era
the
posts.
entire Halo
Just on
roadmap.
politics or something, you know what I mean? He's just talking about something that happens on the news, and all of a sudden, now there's 10 years of Halo posted, by the way.
Then we'll finally have all the names of all the arbiters. Apparently, they do have a list. Like, they said it. I think it was during the one live stream where they were talking about the Halo rings. Like they were talking about their internal wiki, and they like have the names of all the arbiters, but they won't release them, and just they don't want to nail that down if something better comes along.
All right. Well, thank you, Toa and Haruspis, for joining us.
Pleasure as always.
It's been my absolute pleasure.
You guys got any recent stuff you want to plug? Or stuff that I guess is coming out before the end of the year when this releases?
Ian, do you want to go first?
Nothing I can promise, so I'm just not going to touch that at all.
Earlier this month, I did an 8,000 word rumination on the Prometheans, which details their history from Peter Jackson's involvement in Halo through to where we might go with them in the future. And coming up, I've got an article on, we've touched on the topic actually today in this podcast, about transmedia in Halo, having hit 30 novels, and that we really need to chill out a bit.
Alright, I'll put links in the show notes for that stuff, which you can read at FUDcast.com/FUDcast33. Yeah, check us out. YouTube, Forward Unto Dawn, Twitter, Forward Dawn. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, not Spotify, because I have to figure out how to do that. But it'll be coming soon. Leave us a review, yada yada yada. And you can check out Haruspis at haruspis.blog.
Indeed.
And then Halo Canon on YouTube. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.